Did I ever tell you my dad's Bette Midler story? My dad worked on, I think it was Big Business with Bette Midler. He was a camera operator, right? And so he was always right there. He always had a good rapport with the actors and the actresses in any movie he worked on because he was always right in their face. She loved to eat Nutter Butters. And she'd take her Nutter Butters and she'd eat her Nutter Butters. She'd put them on the map box, like or on the camera on the dolly. They're waiting around, like they're getting ready to do a shot. And she's like, so I say, are we ready way? And she's like, are we ready way? And he's like, yeah, we're just, we're waiting. We're going to do your close up. We're, waiting for whenever you're ready. Just let us know. We'll do it. She's like, oh, I'm ready. And she's like, she brushes her face and she's like, did I get it? I got anything? And he's like, oh no, you got a little crumb on your chin. And she's like, oh, did I get it? He's like, no, your other chin. And the way my dad says it is that in the blink of an eye, in an instantaneous moment, him and Bette Midler have this conversation like, please do not get me fired and kill me. It was just a joke. It's just a joke. And she knew she had him dead to rights, and he knew she had him dead to rights. And then she laughed, and he was like, "Oh, thank fucking God."
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening. But are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for Bald Guys and Bad Movies.
Welcome to episode 27 of Bald Guys and Bad Movies. I am your co-host Troy, along with my buddy
Mike Stella.
Michael Stella. What's your middle name? Is it David? Michael David?
Raymond.
Michael Raymond Stella. Have you told me that before? Probably.
My son's middle name is Raymond as well.
Ah, you didn't ask what my middle name was. Do you know my middle name?
Xavier, right?
No. Did you actually think it was Xavier?
No.
Oh, okay. That would be funny. No, it's Lamont.
Lamont?
Yes, named after Lamont from Sanford and His Son.
I was going to say, that's the blackest thing about you.
Desmond Wilson, that's his name. She thought he was cute.
We got to give this light-skinned motherfucker a black middle name.
Well, my uncle wanted to name me Trey.
Trey?
Yeah.
Then that would have been a lot blacker than Troy.
There are all kinds of flavors of black people, Mike. I need to educate you on black people.
I'm just kidding,
There's very
dude.
fair-skinned black people, then there's different shades.
Dude. Oh, man. I'm just kidding, Troy.
I'll invite you to a family reunion. Or
I would love to see
you know we
family.
love those cookouts, so I'll bring you. It'll be like a safari for you.
I'll bring a big fat brisket. I'll smoke a brisket and bring it.
Your briskets are really good.
Yeah, I know they are. I know I have a buddy who has like a great smoker, and I was like, holy shit, you have this sucker? It's like, I think it has a pit boss. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what, you smoke anything? He's like, no, I just use it as a grill. I'm like, what? You use this fucking, you don't use this motherfucker as a smoker? Holy shit, dude. Like, this thing is amazing. Oh, dude. What a missed opportunity.
Speaking of missed opportunities, thank you for the perfect segue.
We are reviewing the long-anticipated Hocus Pocus 2.
Yes. What, 30 years? It's been over 30 years since the last.
It's 30 years. Yeah, it came out in 93. So, I mean,
30 years.
29 years or whatever.
To think of a follow-up for those fans.
Like,
now,
what the fuck, dude? It was like a huge hit. Like, why wouldn't you? Even if they could have done it after 10 years, people would have been all about it. You know what I mean?
Well, before we get into it, and I should preface this by saying I was never a huge fan of the first one. Like,
Me neither.
It was okay.
It's
I was kind of
cute.
mystified by the cult following it's generated.
So was Bette Midler.
Oh, did she say that?
Yeah, she said, never in a million years would I have ever thought this movie would be what it is. Like, you could see her face as she was just like, y'all motherfuckers are crazy.
And she's like 76, I think.
You know, whenever I think about Bette Midler, I think about that scene in Get Shorty. You've seen Get Shorty. I know you've seen Get Shorty. I fucking love that movie.
Wait,
and
she was in Get Shorty, though? I don't remember.
Yeah, she played Gene Hackman's ex-wife. And she goes to, like, seduce him for some reason or another. And she's wearing this, like, tight little negligee, like this little teddy. And I'm just like, God damn, I never thought Bette Midler was hot until, like, right now. I was like, oh,
and by the way, folks,
damn.
he's pointing down in his pants. You literally... did you ever see my favorite Bette Midler film, Ruthless People? You ever seen that? With Danny DeVito?
I feel like I have, but it was a long time ago.
It's an
that
old
shit's
one.
old. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have seen it, but not for a long time. I really don't remember much about it.
It was made by the Zuckers, who did like all the airplane movies and shit.
Oh, okay.
But it was I remember that.
It
Rated
was
R, straightforward comedy. It wasn't like sight gags. So
sure.
And she was great in that. But yes, long-winded setup for going into this movie. I had no expectations. I had no real love. And should you watch it? If you're a fan of the first one,
absolutely,
sure. I think it's just enough to scratch your itch, I guess.
Well, let's hear the synopsis. You got a synopsis pulled
yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
So let's hear that.
Hocus Pocus 2 is a 2022 American fantasy comedy film directed by Ann Fletcher, written by Gene D'Angelo, and produced by Walt Disney Pictures. A sequel to the 1993 film Hocus Pocus, it stars Bette Midler, the busty Bette Midler, as Mike likes to say, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Hey, man, you got to see her in that movie, man.
Najimy, is that how you pronounce her name?
I don't know.
Najami, and Doug Jones.
She lost a bunch of weight.
She did, and which leads, I got to put a flag in that because I got a question about that.
Okay.
Reprising their roles, Doug Jones reprising their roles with Sam Richardson, Whitney Pete, blah, blah, blah. More people. Wait, where's the plot? They didn't even bother.
Good
anyway,
job,
hey, look.
Really good job finding a synopsis this week.
Well, buddy. Usually Wiki does a
good job, man.
And Wiki just said, even Wiki stopped giving a shit. Right in the middle of describing it, it just said, fuck it. Wiki was like, whatever. Do you really want to know what the plot, quote unquote, is?
You know what this shit's about.
Look, out literally Wiki, the next line is, it was released on Disney Plus. The film received mixed reviews, praising the cast, performances, humor, and nostalgia, but criticized the plot. How do you criticize anything that isn't there? That's what I want to know.
Well, my whole thing is like...
All right, wait. So you do recommend it?
Sure. I mean, look, I recommend you watching it with your kids. If you have young children who would be into a fun Halloween movie, or if they like the original Hocus Pocus, yeah, I'd show them the second one. Why not? You know what I mean?
My wife and daughter love this movie.
Number two?
Yeah, I watched it with them. They were having a blast, laughing.
Yeah, Andrea did not like it. She was like, this is bad. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, but is it any worse than the first one? I mean, that's my whole thing.
Yeah, I felt as indifferent to this
one
as I did the first one. But apparently, if you like the first one, then obviously you probably like this, because it is pretty much a fucking carbon copy.
It is
of the first one.
Yeah,
and I don't even remember the plot of the first one. It involved. They had a zombie, and they were trying to take over the world.
They're trying to steal the souls of little children so they can be young forever.
Let's get into spoilers. Let's start talking about it. My favorite part of the movie was actually the opening, when it showed them as little girls, and that little Bette Midler girl.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah,
amazing. And I thought the movie was gonna go somewhere where it didn't even go. I thought it was set in because here's the thing. You have a 30-year-old franchise that by any right should have been forgotten. There's nothing really to say this is a classic except for the love of the fans. And for whatever reason, it resonates with people.
I mean, it's a cult classic because look, Rocky Horror Picture Show isn't a great film, right? It's a classic because people say it's a classic, you know?
Right. So I thought this was a missed opportunity because you could really, I know it's a silly little family film, but it's opportunity to dig a little deeper into the characters. And they set them up to be sympathetic. My takeaway is they start off as three girls who were ostracized from their village for being weird and shit, I guess, chased out in the woods. And here's where it really stumped me. This random witch shows up.
Yeah, and never comes back again.
Never comes back again.
What the fuck was the point of her?
Gives them, these children, a book of evil magic or magic, which puts us on this path to be witches. And, flash forward, whatever. And I thought, whoa, wait a minute. These characters are beloved. It'd be interesting to see, okay, well, maybe they're not really evil. They're just misguided, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping they were gonna kind of go for. They tried to kind of wrap it back up at the end with her, like, loving her sisters and them taking her sisters away. And that was, by doing that magic spell.
Right.
And, but it just kind of was tacked on.
Too late.
Yeah, like they needed to kind of dive into that a little bit more in order for that payoff to really work.
I was actually talking to Chloe about it tonight because we watched it yesterday. And I'm like, why didn't they, to have that witch show up, what if they were part of her grander scheme? They weren't even aware of it, right?
Right. That's what I was thinking was
and
going to happen.
That she is the real evil threat, right?
And then and they, like, become good to, like,
Well, midway through the film, they realize, wait, the children, and we're on the same side here, right?
Exactly.
And it becomes a team up. And then at the end, you set up Hocus Pocus 3 with them now in the modern world, not evil, and trying to acclimate, I'm more interested in 3 if they went that direction, right?
That would have been a great idea. But do you know who that was, right? The witch?
No. Who was that?
The Shame Nun from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Shame!
God. I never
confess.
Did you recognize her?
I knew that was her because I know her from 2 other things. She's in Ted Lasso, and she's also in Sex Education.
Got it.
And I knew that that actress was also the actress from Game of Thrones.
But yeah, I mean, it feels like, what was the fucking point of that? Why even show us dumb. How they became witches and bring in a witch character, and then it's just never addressed again?
Yeah, there's no point to it. Like, it's literally just a weird sort of plot device that is just kind of thrown in there for God knows why.
The kids, their story was tired and generic, and
they could have literally just walked up and lightning, like some fanciful music, and the wind blows, lightning strikes, and the book appears, and it would have been just as effective and less like, why is this happening? This is gonna tie in later. Than you having a whole new witch show up for no fucking reason.
Oh yeah, like for that. Yeah.
Just have lightning strike and the book appears. Boom. It doesn't fucking matter why.
It's the evil forest. This is why people don't go in there.
Exactly. Exactly.
But instead you insert an entire human being in there who basically tells them to become witches. And
why?
And you set up, here's this world of witches. These are the only 3 we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So again, just endless. There's a witch society, and these 3 are outcasts, and they're brought back to like there's all kinds of shit instead of regurgitating the fucking plot of the first one.
Sometimes I wonder if these ideas that we come up with are like thrown around. Like, I wonder if this idea was probably thrown around and people are like, it's just too complicated. Let's just keep it simple. Let's follow the fucking the
tried and
color
true
by numbers that worked last time, and just go from there. So we're not reinventing the wheel here, people. we already got one that worked. Just do that and you're fine. You know what I mean? Like,
that's just lazy bullshit. Like, you're probably right. You know what I mean? I'm sure there was a bunch of ideas thrown on the wall. And like, look,
this is what's
it's a soft reboot, right? And if people like this, then maybe we'll do something different, right? I don't know, man. The way I look at it, you may not get another shot. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
So why not do something? Flesh the characters out more.
I
And they started
like,
off by doing it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
they did. That's the weird thing.
that
Like,
hooked
why
me
did they?
in. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
And then they just stopped. They just stopped, and it was like, what's the point in us? I mean, I don't know. It's
you know what?
writing.
Even at the end, when they
But the young girls were really good.
Yes.
I thought like they were really good.
And I thought at the end, maybe when they turned to dust, maybe they went back to that moment in time and they stopped themselves from, taking the book, or, you know what I mean? I don't know. Some kind of wraparound that tie back into the opening. So for me, that's the true happy ending.
Yeah.
They don't become witches. They don't become burned at the fucking stake or hung. And they don't start eating kids. Like, before they're in, they bite the apple, the forbidden apple, so to speak. You stop it. And then they get to have, maybe the guy.
They're happily ever after.
Yeah, or whatever. I mean, you fucking put it in your movie. You put it in there right at the beginning. There's no growth or development. Like, no one grows except at the very end. Bette Midler's like
instantaneously.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're taking my sisters. You can't take my sisters. Who you're a fucking bitch to constantly. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Dude.
And they didn't have powers like Bette Midler? So I don't remember any of the lore of
Not
this.
as strong as her, from what I remember. I remember that they would take the potions, they would help build the potions, but they didn't have like as much power as far as I remember. I don't remember ever seeing him like shoot any lightning or anything like that.
So
you know what I mean?
maybe I was dozing off. Why the fuck did they start shooting lightning then?
Because after they did that, they started doing that the power spell, it like worked on all of them, and the power. But the whole point was like the power was supposed to be shared. So if the power was given to all three of them, they were sharing the power. So why were they being taken away if they didn't break the rules? You know what I mean?
And even before that, when they got power, there was suddenly some tension between them, like
right.
And then that instantly went away.
Yeah.
Like, Sarah Jessica Parker stood up, and then she was put back in her place.
Yep.
And it went nowhere. I will say Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, they were very energetic. Like, I was surprised how spry, because, 30 years later, and Bette Midler's no spring chicken.
Yeah.
But she was very spry. Kathy Najimy, it seemed a little low energy, so I don't know if, maybe it's me. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, she didn't really seem that low energy to me. Like, maybe, but some of the things I did like were, I thought it was fucking hilarious that she was on the Roombas, like floating on the Roombas. I thought that shit was funny as hell. And then later on, when the fucking... And they're like, oh, they got a mind of their own. And then later on, when they put the fucking salt rig around them, and they come like skittering up, and they clean up the salt. I was like, that is fucking perfect. Like, that is a funny little moment.
That whole sequence, yes. And it's not to say it didn't have a few moments of, made me smile or chuckle a little bit. When they went into the Walgreens or the whatever, but
like
this
drinking the serums and shit,
right?
like,
And the door opens magically. It's just an automatic door.
Yeah.
If they did a 3 with them now trying to be good, quote unquote, or living in the real modern world, fish out of water, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're such beloved characters. They're not beloved because they're evil. They're beloved because of It's like the Three Stooges, right? The female version. It's their interaction with one another.
Yeah, it's a very good point. They really are the Three Stooges.
They have a fan base that is endeared to them, so you don't have to have them regurgitate the same plot and be evil. It'd be more interesting to have them try to be good.
Right.
Or try to fit in. those are tons of things. But like that convenience store, the Walgreens or whatever, that's probably the best part of the film. I felt.
I loved the Walgreens. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that was my favorite part of the whole movie. There was so much comedy in that section.
Yeah.
And it was just I just love how she's constantly like, oh, the one chick is constantly like bullshitting them and saying, oh, this is the last, you know what I mean? This is the last of the berry juice. Like, you know what I mean? There were a lot of like funny little moments, but I felt like overall it was flat, you know, it was pretty damn flat. And
Well, everything with the teenagers were just generic Nickelodeon movie of the week.
Right.
Like there was just nothing there. And you know, the actresses did fine. It was just unimaginative, right? And the film came to life again whenever the witches were. That's what I'm saying. I would have figured out a way to have those teens, if you had to have them, more woven into the plot of the witches, right?
Right.
Of Bette Midler and their crew. If they were forced to work together at some point, and then you don't have to have two separate narratives. One you don't give a shit about, and the other is why the movies exist in the first place. Like,
right.
Again, this might be the only sequel they make, so let's just give as much of these characters things to do and have them on screen as much as fucking possible.
Yeah,
that would have been my goal going in as someone who was writing this. How do you make it work?
Oh man, all I gotta say though is that when they went on stage and started singing One Way or Another, I was like, please God, not this fucking song again. Not this. Please God, no.
I had the same thought, my friend. Can't fucking escape that song.
Oh my God.
In our day job, we had to use that song by Blondie for something, and we heard it a lot, over and over and over again. That's what we're talking about.
And I was just like, oh my God, of course they used this song. Yeah,
that was a cute little sequence when they.
What I thought was funny is when they go up and they're in like a Sanderson sisters contest, and like they lose to like the sexy little hot thing like Sanderson sisters. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was probably my number 2. Like, oh, that's a good sequence. Honestly, man, whenever they were on screen, the film came to life, and it probably was the same for the first one. Let's face it.
Absolutely. I mean, well, that's the whole point. I mean, I think that's why the movie is such a classic. It's because people love the characters. It's not the movie itself.
Wasn't there a talking cat in the first one?
Yes, like some boy was like turned into a cat years ago, and then he's still alive, and he's kind of like the one helping them like figure out how to get rid of the Sanderson sisters.
I guess he was turned back or rescued at the end of the first one.
Yeah. Okay. He was turned back, and then he like ends up going to heaven or something because he's hundreds of years old.
See, and I thought the black dude would maybe be turned into a cat or something like that, like to get a talking cat, because of the few things I do remember. I remember the talking cat, and that was kind of fun.
Right.
But not in this one. They chose not to do that. But they brought the fucking zombie back.
The talking something. I mean, they could have like turned him into a
like,
frog or something. You know, that might be funny. A toad or like anything. You know what I mean?
A pug dog. I don't know.
Yeah. They could have turned him into like a talking inanimate object. You know what I mean? Like a talking tin can or who knows what. Right. You know what I mean? Like just something completely ridiculous that just makes you laugh at the idea of it.
Right. You could have even had a scene where you think it's going to be the cat, and it becomes like you said, something fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
So it's a throwback to the original, but we kind of like
a bag of potato chips or something, and every time he talks, like you can hear the crinkling of the bag moving. You know what I mean? It's at times they're like when he gets really excited, he's talking really fast. The crinkling's so loud, like you can't even understand like what the hell he's saying. And that would have been they could have had funny little bits with that. You know what I mean?
There's so many missed opportunities, man, with these characters and the fact that they can do magic and do anything.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that's a stupid little moment I just came up off the top of my head. But the real tragedy is the fact that they could have done so much more with the movie itself, and as like an overarching story arc, you know, a plot that really gives you more information on the characters, like you said, and they just didn't, and it was just like. I don't know.
It could have been a universe building moment.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
which is what the fans would have fucking lost their mind for that. You know what I mean?
While Bette Midler's still alive, you know, God bless her. Like, and if you're gonna spend millions of dollars or whatever to do this, then let's do it in a way that we leave it open for a sequel. Like, you're champing at the bit. Well, they disappeared into fairy dust.
Well, yeah, at the very end, though, you didn't see the after credit scene?
With them singing in the studio? Okay,
no.
Obviously, I didn't. What happened?
It cuts to the cat, and he's, like, walking around. You're expecting him to, like, say something, you know what I mean? Because of the talking cat from the first one.
Right.
But he doesn't. He just jumps onto like, a shelf in the magic house thing, and you see a box that says, BF candle number 2, and so they have he has another black flame candle, which is how.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah.
So if they do a third one, they'll use the same fucking trope.
It's gonna be exactly the same fucking thing as the last time.
Jesus Christ! I'm glad I missed it.
Oh man!
But Sarah Jessica Parker looks good. But maybe it's the makeup and stuff.
I don't know. She looks okay.
Have you never been a fan of?
No, I was a fan of hers back in the day, I think. I mean, I think I was more of a fan in, like, her super early movies. Like, she did a movie where she was, like, a nurse or something. I can't remember. But it was way before Sex and the City when she was, like, super young. And that's when I thought she looked really good. But once she became, like, Sex and the City girl, I was just like, I don't give a fuck about her.
My daughter loved her character in this movie.
Oh yeah,
loved it. I mean, I think
I think that's one of the big things. That's you know, and you know I saw some meme the other day. Is like when I was young, I thought I was the Sarah Jessica Parker character, and then I got older and I thought I was the Bette Midler character. And now I'm a little bit older, I realize I've always been the other character.
She was super energetic.
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Well, I mean, she's not like she's an old lady, but she's
young.
57, but she was doing cartwheels and shit. And good on her, man. She brought so much energy back. It didn't feel like she lost a step. And I give that compliment to Bette Midler.
Yeah, but I mean, 56 nowadays is like, you know,
new 46.
Yeah. I mean, you look at pictures of like 35-year-olds in the 70s, and they look like they're 60 years old. It's fucking weird, dude. Like, what is with that?
It's like, all that tobacco smoking and hard liquor drinking.
I'm not crazy, right? Like, that's a thing, right? You look at you look at Cheers, the cast of Cheers. They're all supposed to be in their like early to mid 30s. You know that?
Mm. Yeah,
that's fucking insane to me.
But they're supposed to be. But were they actually that though? Like, were they actually in their 40s and shit? Right.
The girl who played Bette Midler's younger self, right? When she was turning 16, like she looked like she was like 14 or something.
Yeah,
like,
she looked young, super young.
It was really weird to me. Like they picked people who looked on the opposite sides of the spectrum. One who looked super young who was playing 16, and one who looked super old who was playing 16. So there was this weird sort of like disconnect in the ages, I felt like.
Yeah.
Did you notice that was kind of a weird thing? How one looked super young, one looked super old?
I mean,
not really.
Not really. I mean, it looked like the kid, the dumb jock boyfriend.
That guy was pretty funny.
He was funny, but he looked way older than
yeah.
Someone that's supposedly 16 or whatever. But
At the end, when they're like calling out things about people that you think are weird and making him feel bad about
his
it.
whole life he's been crushing souls.
He's like is being mean, and he was like, it is? I have so many people to apologize to, and I was cracking up. I was like, well, at least he's not just an asshole. He's just a fucking moron.
And I think the first film actually did this better. I felt like the two main girls and then the third weren't funny. Like there was no real comedy, right? And I felt like the first film, from my recollection, did a better job because I don't know. It felt like the zombie was with them, or there was always something whimsical and entertaining around them. They didn't have to be funny themselves, but they were always in a kind of humorous situation. And I felt like the first half of the film was just boring. So here we go. It's paint by numbers filmmaking. The friends, and they're, one is now popular or has a boyfriend.
Oh, she's turning 16. She's definitely going to be a witch.
Yeah, like here we go. This is where we're going. This is where these films go. And then Bette Midler and crew shows up and it becomes fun. Yeah. Right? And that's like
funner.
30 minutes in. Starts really strong, gets dull, picks up, and then you could see the meter when those girls are on screen. Like it's like, all right.
But
get it over with.
Look, there were times that I actually kind of liked them. I mean, the third girl was kind of non-existent and just kind of boring.
Yeah, she just kind of showed up.
But I liked them kind of as characters. Like I thought they were kind of funny. I thought they were kind of like, they had this funny little sort of like, I don't know, relationship. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed their characters.
I see, but I feel like the fact that she's a budding witch and doesn't know it, like it feels like there's like your bag of chips idea. Like if the talking bag of chips was paired up with them. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no.
There needs to be.
I'm not trying to say that it couldn't be a lot better.
Right.
They could have done a lot more with it. But I like the way that like she fooled Bette Midler's character constantly whenever she was like tell her stuff. Like I thought that was funny.
No, when they were together. Right? I'm saying when it was just them. Like, and I feel like that's where the cat in the original one really helped. Right. Because I think the cat was helping the kids, and there was always some kind of fun, magical, fanciful thing with the straight arrow people, right?
Totally.
And that's what I'm saying. And the fact that you're giving her powers, like at the end, she, discovers her full powers or whatever, but you could really play into that as the film goes on. Like, totally. and maybe the magical bag of chips is like, you have the power in you. We gotta get it out of you, right? Like, Master Chip, listen to your master. But how cool would that have been? Like, while they're saving the mayor, trying to quickly unleash or learn about this power, and I don't know, it could have been fun, more fun on their end.
I mean, there was some like, I thought the whole shit with the fucking with the caramel apple like bit, I thought that was pretty fucking funny. And then he shows up, he comes back to the house, he's like, I went to Walgreens and I got this sad excuse for caramel apple. Like, he was so fucking pissed about it. I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, it was funny.
And then he gets the caramel apple, and then I'm like, the whole dance number happens. I'm like, where's his apple? Where does apple go? And then he's like, where's my apple? What the fuck? Like, he didn't say what the fuck, but he was freaking out that, one of those fucking people took his apple. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
No, it was fine. Like, it was, there was nothing like outwardly like, that's awful.
No, well, I'm not saying like I feel like the whole movie was great. There were certain parts that I did enjoy. Like I enjoyed like mainly the apple like little shenanigans was kind of funny. I thought it was a funny little gag that they put in there. And then I really liked the Roombas cleaning up the salt that were like sealing them in. And her riding on the Roombas to begin with was funny as shit. You know what I mean?
Well, anything involving them, I've got no complaints other than the plot. What the plot had to do with them, but what they had to work with, they executed it well. Like, I think they gave the fans what they're looking for. That character, the mayor character, forget the actor's name. He's from Arrested Development. He's an amazing comedic actor, and I felt like
he was underutilized.
And then their whole thing was to get his blood or whatever. And then I guess when he found out that's his daughter, he was just like, well, whatever. We don't. But the thing is, he's funny. Right?
If they had taken him,
yes,
they could have had so many better gags thrown in there.
Right, so much.
And I bet you not only could they have like written better gags if they had done that, but that comedian being in that scene, he probably would have just come up with funny shit on his own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then maybe you have an unexpected happy ending.
Yeah.
In my version, where maybe he thinks...
we know about Troy's versions of happy endings. They're even better when they're unexpected. Not for her, but...
Yeah. A lot of my happy ending places were shut down, unfortunately. A lot of sting operations. Not that I know anything about that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he...
And this episode's dedicated to Robin Loot.
Maybe he thinks Bette Midler's cute. Like, they fall... Like, unexpected.
Yeah.
The great ancestor of the person that ran her off. Like, maybe they fall in love. I don't know. Like, there's just so much that could have... Look, at the end of the day, I don't care that much about the film. It didn't offend me that they didn't do these things. It just felt like the three lead women gave such a great performance. I don't think they lost a step from their performance in the first one. Which is why it's disheartening.
Right.
For 30 years, this is all they could come up with.
This is all we got after 30 years.
I mean, fucking 30 years, a fan of the original could be old enough to write.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Someone
I
out
guarantee you there is someone who loves Hocus Pocus who is a professional writer, out in Hollywood right now, who grew up on it, is a huge fan, watches it 5 times a year. You know what I mean?
And you know what? You have Bette Midler, this amazing singer. I would have had more songs.
Yeah.
Fucking, let's go for it. You know what I mean? Like, let's just make this big and feel like a big epic thing. Not saying make it a full out musical, but that was one of the high points.
Yeah.
When they were singing, like, put a couple more of those songs in there. Like, make it a party. This film should be a party, a celebration of the cult classic. Maybe it could have a few jokes where it's kind of joking about its own legacy, right?
Absolutely. They absolutely should. It needed to be self-aware.
Yes.
And I didn't feel like it was as self-aware, like really very self-aware at all, which was kind of disappointing for a movie like this. Like, it really should have played into the camp, and not just the camp for being campy, but the camp that surrounds the, years and years of people loving it.
This is the thing. Now, when they made this film, they probably made it for, certain age group, young age group. Those people have grown up. They're now adults.
Right. Exactly.
So you can with wit, you can make this witty and funny and sharp.
There were not nearly enough like adult jokes that go over kids' heads.
And you have fucking Bette Midler. This is a chance to get more Bette Midler into this role, right? And I'm not saying make it fucking, drop the F-bombs or whatever, but
but you can make lots of jokes that will just go right over any kid's head. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they put those jokes in all kinds of movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they always work so well. I can't think of really any. I think they made some joke about her being a virgin. You know what I mean? But that was it.
It may not be a one-to-one example, but a good example of bringing, in my opinion, an IP back to the forefront was the revamp of the Muppets, that movie. That's how you do it. They had the low-hanging fruit humor, but a lot of it was self-aware and witty for adults.
Right.
It was made with loving care by a fan.
Right.
And I don't feel like this movie was made with loving care by a fan. It was generic.
This movie feels like it was made by a bunch of people in suits sitting in a boardroom saying, man, we got it. Like, Hocus Pocus is such a big, everyone watches Hocus Pocus during the Halloween season. We need to make a sequel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We need content for Disney Plus. What's on our IP list?
Exactly.
Hocus Pocus.
Exactly.
Let's do one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the original script? Great. Let's see what things we could tweak a little bit.
Let's get rid of that cat. No need for a talking cat.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
just extra CG.
Yeah. Black guys are cool now. Let's have a funny black guy.
Yeah, funny black guy.
Black
Yeah,
cat, black guy. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, even better.
We're diverse around here.
Now it's woke.
What a missed opportunity. You want to rate it?
Sure. Let's rate this motherfucker.
Okay, what do you
Rate this bitch.
What do you rate it, Mike?
I'm gonna give it a 3. I'll say 3 of Bette Midler's chins.
And the saga continues. Send the family blood. I'll give it 2.5 Roombas out of 5.
That's fair. That's what I was seesawing between.
Yeah.
Personally.
And like I said in the beginning, for some people, it's just going to be enough just to see them back on screen.
Have you seen Hubie Halloween?
No.
It came out last year with Adam Sandler, and he does one of his goofy voices again.
Isn't he's an idiot? Like
he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, right. Breaking news.
Yeah,
Adam
right?
Sandler plays an idiot in a film. You look at a teen rom-com from the 80s, everyone looks like they're fucking in college.
Yeah.
Even though they're playing high school, is because they're fucking in their 20s.
Which is really funny because the teenagers, like the girl who turned 16, like in the present day, the darker girl, she looked
The black
like
girl. You could say black.
Was she black? Was she black?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
The main one, the witchy one.
Was
the
she
one
black?
that had powers. Yeah.
She could have been some other sort of dark-skinned, I don't know. She looked like she could have been some other nationality. I don't know, man.
You can't accept her being a black girl, man?
Hey, sure, if you say she's black, she's black.
Wait, you hate The Little Mermaid too? Let's get it all out here.
Oh, my God.
Let's you one of those people, Mike? Come on. Let's have it out.
Fuck off, Troy. What did I say in that meeting today? You were the person I tell to fuck off more than any other person I know.